Do not try to tell me what to do. I innocently caught my wife engaging in some form of a relationship. This is still undetermined. A few months ago, I ended up needing to get into her email for something and I found pics and conversations with her coworker. She had disguised this person's contact info under a female friend. Anyway, the emails contained pictures of the guy with dirty text to go with it. I noticed they said love in their messages. After skimming through a few emails, I decided to confront her about the whole thing. I asked her who this was, what it was about, how long, etc. after multiple attempts to get the truth out of her. Eventually I came upon a series of questions that got her to reveal that there was a physical aspect to their relationship. Being that it happened at work, she said there was never time for anything but some kissing, making out. Whatever. I am very wary of her words and the truth they hold. I'm having a hard time believing her and trusting her. I travel quite often for work, sometimes the entire work week. During some of these times she had sent some pictures to him that were not platonic, but weren't on the same level as his. I should have taken her phone and read the entire history of emails. I did not. Instead, I let her have this choice and she chose to delete all of it. She said she thought it would have been harder to get out of my mind and I would be thinking about it all the time. After this I went through her phone camera and found the previously mentioned pictures that I had never seen prior to finding out about this. Our marriage is not and wasn't very good. We struggle to communicate effectively and bonding is a constant issue. There are other issues too. Our best strategy to successfully live together is to ignore what we can and distract ourselves from the rest. I feel like we experience 5% of the goodness that can exist in marriage. Currently we are seeing a counselor with the intent of making it work, but it's hard for me to see much happening. But I'm trying to have a neutral attitude. What steps can I take to help make this work? Do I need to draw some hard lines that I did not put in place months ago? I do not want to live through another 2 years of this and find out we're no better off. That is a waste of life. The first thing we brought up in counseling was the affair. The first question being, can we make it work? We have homework, but the goals are not really established. We do not really converse about much very well, to be honest. What you said about not reading each other's minds is accurate. We are 5 years in, no kids. I made a mistake in letting her delete those, no question about it now. She said she sent him an email and tried to call him. I physically encountered him at the gym and confronted him. He lied to my face, impressive, too, and acted like he had no idea what was going on. His girlfriend may have been nearby. I do not know how to contact him or her. I wanted to ask him about the whole situation and see if he would give a different story. Most of her computer activity is from her iPhone. I have not requested pins, passwords to her email and phone. Should I do this? We are trying to improve our marriage. In our minds we both say we want to make it work. We will see what happens as time rolls on. The tangible evidence has been deleted. I will have to rely on my wife to tell me how to get in contact with him. I have told my parents and a few close friends during my 1 to 3 day what the hell moments. I have had no reason to suspect any further contact. They both changed jobs, unrelated to this. Theoretically, they could run into each other at the gym like he and I did. I will get her email and phone access tonight. I will see what kind of cooperation she will provide about the NC letter and contacting us. So, the marriage not working is a very real possibility. No question. Update. I have been digging through her iPhone files and it got me thinking about something I have not looked at yet. Cell phone provider call history. This led me to discover his cell phone number. I verified this by calling it from Google Voice. It went straight to voicemail and it was him. After I have his cell number, I cross-referenced it to the voicemail database from the iPhone. This led me down a path to find some voicemails from the OM that cover dates from February to June, and I know it was up until I caught her. Anyway, her call history doesn't seem to have overwhelming patterns outside of they usually speak when she's in the car, to from work, or lunch. I have purchased a VAR and plan on putting that to use as a SP. I am considering buying another for the bedroom and maybe purchasing a security camera. She has spoken with him about once a week, sometimes more but not significantly since I discovered all of this mess. I demanded no contact, no letter. When I first found out, she claims she sent him an email and tried calling to tell him that was it. Apparently, it was not. Do I need to pursue further evidence? I really want to know the truth about their relationship. I have felt she's been excluding key information the entire time. What steps do I need to take to be prepared for separation, divorce? I live in VA. Can I do this without lawyers involved? If I do need a lawyer, they need proof of infidelity. We have no kids and not a lot of wealth. Comments. Your detective work is obsessive. If you feel like you must do all of this monitoring, I can't see what the point is. You have all the information you need to make a decision about the future of your relationship, and all your digging and spying is doing is delaying your taking the proper action. OP responds, maybe I am just that insecure about the whole thing. I want to believe her in some sense, but maybe that is just my jacked up state of being right now. Damn it, this is hard to really accept. I called an attorney for some information, so we will see how it goes. I will not have a good opportunity to confront her until Monday. I am going to seek legal counsel. Once I have that and a plan in place, I am going to confront her. What a mess. Days later. Update. I went to an initial consult with a lawyer and got my head on straight as far as the expectation for separation and ultimately divorce. I went home and told her we are separated. We talked a good bit and she eventually fully admitted that she's been lying the entire time and her EA was actually a PA. Imagine that, which I later find out was 5 months. I tell her we are done. I leave for the weekend. I return on Sunday evening and some friends want to meet with me to talk about the events. Drama. Meltdown. They tell me she has completely broken down to ground zero and is wide open with everything. I am not sure if I believe them, but it gives me hope that something might actually be different inside of her. The main takeaway from their conversation for me were: 1. I cannot make good decisions when I'm not right with God. I'm not and haven't been for a while. And 2. This is the first real challenge of my faith in my life. With that being said, I went home and got a shower. When I got out, she was downstairs doing something and we started talking. She did not expect me to even listen to her, let alone carry on a conversation. She told me everything I asked of her and explained what has happened to her. One of our friends is a counselor and my wife spent a good bit of time with her while I was gone over the weekend. I feel like this has helped give her some good expectations if I felt like giving this another go. To make a long story short, I felt very strongly that this is a real and raw state she is in. And I felt like that transparency was enough, combined with number 2 above, to give our marriage another shot. So, we are trying to make it work. We have our first counseling session tonight where she has to lay it all out for our MC, who she also lied to. I am at the point now where I've told her that she must sever all contact with OM. She agrees. Great. If I write the NC letter as mentioned earlier in this thread, how do we deliver it? Neither of us know his address. I know his cell phone number, however. How do I prevent him from contacting her at work? He has done this once. There is no caller ID or anything to screen the call. I have made the expectations very clear. Any future contact will prompt immediate separation. Divorce procedure. She has unlocked her phone and says she will provide FB, Gmail account information to me tonight. As mentioned before, I travel a decent bit. Of the times they were together, most of the time were when I was away. What other steps do I need to put in place to protect myself? I feel pretty good when we are around one another. But I am due to travel next week and I'm sure I will have time periods of pain, doubt and feelings of insecurity. What else should I do? I am doing okay with the emotional side of this for the most part. I feel very connected to my wife for the first time in years. She has admitted she has been hiding from me, herself and pretty much everyone, which led to isolating me and making our marriage stagnant and sometimes miserable. I see her actively trying for the first time, maybe ever. Is she just trying to make up for a huge mistake? How do I know it is for real? I struggle with images and the decisions she has made just like anyone would, but my anger seems in check. I need a reality check. Am I asking for round 2 depending on your perspective? Is it okay to feel close to her? Can she possibly be manipulating me? I can't imagine this being anything but genuine at this point, but look where I am. I have met OM. He has a girlfriend. My wife says he's crazy and doesn't want me confronting him. I did confront him the previous time I saw him after D-Day and he lied to my face. She seems intimidated by him and his violent past history. I told her I want to expose this to his girlfriend and she told me that he has a history of shenanigan and it is probably a waste of time. Should I pursue this either way? I already let her delete the emails back in July. Obviously a mistake. She told me if I would have read them that I would have found out it was a PA then instead of last week. I bought one VAR, but I was not sure if I should still use it. I am checking her phone records. I guess the laptop is about the last option for contacting him unless she purchases some other way or uses a work phone. She has not told her friends at work. That would be one other means of accountability. Is that worth exploring? 1. The last time they were together was in mid-August, but she has physically seen him in person and spoken on the phone since. 2. Why it ended would probably be because she was caught and I am threatening to leave. 3. I do not win, if I'm really honest about it. I guess I better deploy the VAR. She claimed they met up 5 times over 5 months and I traveled half the time during the first half of the year. Met and chilled in parking lots. She seems so genuine now. I do not know how to verify any of this. We went to the counseling session together tonight. The counselor had a vibe but was pretty blown away by it all and her confessing. She has agreed to write an NC letter. She gave me her login info for Gmail and FB. She agreed to only go to the gym with me. I confronted her about location and frequency. It seems she streamlined the truth a bit about both. She said she just gave me a number when I asked her about the frequency. She said it happened more than 5 times but not many. Apparently, this guy was not right and she said she expected them to hook up a lot more than they did. I asked her if she ever came to our house with him and she said no. I ended up getting her to admit that they did go to his place once. According to her, he is paranoid of being caught by his GF or by my neighbors. This seems sketchy to me still, but I wanted to see what you guys thought. The guy is a lot older than my wife, 15 years, and I have a very attractive wife. If it were me, I'd be trying to tap that at every opportunity. Anyway, if I were paranoid, it seems the last spot you would want to be chill is in a ducking SUV in a grocery store parking lot. Some of the details I specifically asked and she told me about were not true. She claimed she was trying to shield me from some of the details. Should I demand a polygraph? I talked with her again this morning and told her things still are not sitting right and I think she's lying. She admitted to not using condoms every time and that they came to our house once. I am really starting to lose my mind now. She has identified that her fear and uncertainty bring her back to that comfortable place. Deception. I think I am still in serious denial, but cogent and staying rational about my gut feelings and her deception. I do not know how to merge the two. I certainly do not know how to manage my thoughts or emotions about what she has done to me. My default is to throw up a brick wall and ignore. I mentioned the poly this morning prior to her admitting those 2 lies above, and she acted a little weird but said if that is what I want. I do not know if this compelled her to tell me more of the truth or what. We are going to get tested for STDs just as a precaution. I think tonight is the night for all truths or separation. We just talked and they were in my bed and on my couch. Earlier today I dragged my couch out into the lawn. I just found out about my bed. Supposedly this was the last thing she was hiding from me. I don't really know what other things I would care about, but she's lied to me and to our counselor twice. She's lied about 10 times to me. She told me about some other crap from her past. I want to burn the mattress. She told me not to bother with the polygraph and she would stop holding this last bit back. I cannot trust her. I am starting to get angry but trying not to show it. Does this mean I am pretty much at the point where I need to separate again? I feel like I am walking around at night lost in the woods with nails in my eyes. I do not know how to evaluate whether I can get beyond her betrayal and lying. I can forgive her. Is this it? My parents are coming into town this weekend. I do not know what the poly will accomplish at this point. I think I have the information now. I am just too much of a doormat to go forward. I cannot go in that bedroom. Weeks later, wife and I are going to attempt reconciliation. What demands and or protective steps should I take as such moving forward? Here are my thoughts. 1. Sell or rent the house, prefer to sell it. Move away from current area. 2. Sell her vehicle and replace it with something else with the money she gets from the sale. 3. Continue counseling wherever we are. 4. Try with our individual relationships with God. 5. Be connected, transparent or be able to talk about why we are or are not connected. 6. Not be mediocre, miserable. 7. Start our relationship over in a lot of ways. 8. No consideration of children for at least 3 years. Maybe more. I'm thinking about getting snipped in the meantime. These are reversible from what I understand. I do not want kids until our relationship is something worth keeping. Number 6 is more of a reflection that will take place at time intervals in the future. If we are miserable a year from now, I will not stick with it. What else should I demand? I am perfectly fine with demanding something that is obviously there for my protection. Should I consider a post-nup or contract if she screws up? I have made it very clear that any future mistakes in this realm will not be a question. I already have my decision made. This is her last chance. I know we have a ton of work to do. I am not going to blindly pretend that it will work. There is a chance if we both put the effort in. I am at the point now where I have nothing left to lose but time, and I think it is worth the risk of wasting another 6 months to give her a chance to prove that she has and will continue to change. One thing I have realized over our short sine wave: if I am not spending any time with her, there is no way it will ever work. You cannot actively do anything by yourself in a marriage. That ended up being longer than I wanted. Oh yeah, I found the OM's GF last week and told her. Update: we've been trying to reconcile for about 2 months now, I guess. A bit more. We are still seeing a counselor regularly. It was once a week, now it's once every other week. Things have been okay. Good. 1. We are communicating more and better, or at least realizing and able to talk about when we are not communicating well. 2. Bonding is better and more often, but still not meeting my needs. 3. We are spending more time together. I haven't been traveling much for work. 4. She hasn't spoken with OM. 5. She seems interested in being married to me. 6. She has been transparent with everything I have asked. Neutral. Bad. 1. She has a hidden email address that she claims she cannot remember. Access that she used to send pics and communicate with OM. 2. The newness of reconciling seems to have worn off and we are creeping back to our old patterns and ways. I worry about us defaulting to our comfort, laziness, and our relationship becoming stagnant again. 3. Right now I feel like there is no way I can have kids with her. I have not communicated this. 4. If we move from our current area, we will lose 30,000 or so. Maybe more. If we sell her vehicle, we will probably lose at least 2,000. Maybe more. 5. I feel insecure about our relationship, bonding, and our future if I'm honest with myself. We live a mile or so from where WW and OM would meet and or chill. Every time I leave the house, I get a friendly reminder of this unless I am distracted on a phone call. My bad. Number 3 might be a deal breaker for her. She has sat down with me in front of the computer trying to remember her username and password. She claims she made something up and left it up in Safari on her iPhone, something I cannot verify via iPhone backups. She claims she did not actively check it on any computer and didn't have to have a backup email address to create the email account. She is really trying to say I don't remember the login info because I never had to use it. Seems suspect, but I've created email addresses that I've forgotten the info on, too. I do not know of any other way to find out what it is without the help of OM or his GF. What do I do? Is she just lying to me? I am in contact with OM's GF. We both think they are not in contact right now. As far as the kid's statement goes, I do not know if I should withhold this for now or if I should go ahead and drop that bomb. I am not saying it can't change in the future, but right now there is no way. She got tested. I did not. She was clean. She isn't claiming to have forgotten the password. She is claiming to not know her username for the other email account. I do not know what she would have said and how she would have reacted had the roles had been reversed. It does not feel great, but she claims to have changed. I am trying to give her an opportunity to demonstrate these changes. I have been bothered by this whole affair thing, but for the most part I've stayed fairly numb and emotionally calm. I feel like I should be angry, but I am not. Does this come later? I am not a super emotional person, but anger is one thing I've had in the past. Not so much since I have been an adult. I do not feel like I can be completely honest with FWW with my raw feelings, emotions, thoughts, concerns. Part of our past communication struggles have been my phrasing or presentation of what I want to say, not the actual content. I feel like this is another opportunity to do the exact same thing. Weeks later, I do not feel like I can be 100% committed right now. I do not feel like it is worth the effort. The love I have for my wife is a commitment, not a feeling for me. We communicate poorly and have not made much progress in 3 months. I feel like the only way I can handle trying to R is by avoiding my damage, hurt, pain, which I think is one of the worst ways to cope. Whenever I directly think about what she has done and go there, I do not want to be with her. I have really been trying to be gracious with her about this opportunity to show me she wants to be married and is willing to do the heavy lifting. She has done some lifting, but no one wants to seem to grab anything heavy. I haven't told her or the counselor. She's always there, what I just shared. I am not sure I can even get past all of this. Here's a quote from another thread that really captured me. I could never get over the mental images of my wife sleeping with another man and her coming home to me like nothing happened. If I try to tell her my feelings like I said above, I'm sure it will spiral into disaster talk, which might be fine if that's where it needs to go. But I'm not sure yet. She is my trigger in a lot of ways. My house is a trigger. Her vehicle is a trigger. The gym down the street is a trigger. The grocery store across from the gym is a trigger. I just try to compartmentalize and move on. Sometimes I can, sometimes I cannot. The counselor told us that the only way we can make this work is by being around each other. I understand what you are saying though. How can I ever be real when I am constantly around her and that trigger? Not sure. Is this all just false R or unintended rug sweeping by me? I did not know how to react, so I just sucked it all in and tried to protect her and myself. The longer I think about this, the more I feel like our marriage is over. Months later, since then, we have decided to relocate for a few reasons, but mostly because I do not want to be in this defiled house any longer. We put the house up for sale about 2 months ago and we got it under contract about 6 weeks after listing. She traveled with me on a business training trip for a week and took non-paid time off to do so. We are moving in about a month. As far as our marriage goes, we have not really changed much. I'm not sure there were any real consequences for her outside of ending the affair, which I'm quite confident is over now. We spend a decent amount of time hanging out together, but we don't seem to talk about anything real or important 99% of the time when I know there are things we are both thinking. I have been realizing more and more, lately, that I prefer to ignore and distract myself instead of facing the reality of the situation. I feel like I am afraid to rock the boat right now with all of the transitions going on. New place, new area, new job for her, and being busy at work. We seem to avoid all topics that could potentially be iffy, uncomfortable. Our plan after quitting MC was to work through the Torn Asunder workbook together. We have done this for about 2 months and have recently not made much progress with all the house crap and travel demanding time. I see a few problems. 1. I prefer not to rock the boat or upset her by talking about our relationship realistically right now. I've tried to be reasonable and give it time and make sure I'm not rushing into any decisions that I might regret for the rest of my life, and keep her calm through the house sale and move. I am not sure what to tell her or how to make feasible metrics for identifying progress. I feel like it has been more of the same with her not taking full ownership of this. I have seen her change a bit, but not in any discernible way outside of a little more interest in me. Overall patterns are not really much different. We do not treat each other much differently. Our communication did not magically change. I guess I trust her a bit more than 6 months ago. but I have no compelling reason to think that it could not happen again. I am finding myself not as attracted to her. 2. She seems to think, or at least not communicate otherwise, everything is okay and progressing as it should. My plan is to move, get settled and give the situation a few months to level out. I plan on reevaluating in August or so. I think I need to abandon this idea I have that time will help my vision. If I looked at my time between affair and now as dating, there is no way I would choose to be married. Is that a fair way to look at it? I need someone objective to tell me I am going crazy. 1. NC is in effect and has not been broken to my knowledge. She sent a letter. 2. Somewhat questionable from my perspective. 3. She has done everything I have asked. I found her bonus email account after D-Day, but she told me it existed and could not remember the login. There is consistency of her email conversations to text conversations over time was good. I have no reason to believe that she is hiding anything from me with that email address. 4. I do not think she is lying to me anymore. She is just not saying much. I am not sure we are in true R. Nope. Seems like cruise control. Comments. Every choice you make has a price. If you choose to ignore and avoid, the likely cost here is going to be losing your marriage. If you choose to face your demons and face reality, the likely cost will be a brief time of discomfort and scariness, but the chances of saving your marriage increase dramatically. It is up to you, but just be honest. If you continue as you are, I can pretty much guarantee the cost will be painful and harder than you think. You are not really avoiding pain by choosing to ignore and avoid, you're just procrastinating it. On the other hand, if you choose to face it, yep, there will be some pain initially, but that will give way to a real chance to build either your marriage or yourself into something pain-free. Number 1. Time to rock the boat. Now, not after you have moved and waited several more months and done nothing. Now, number 2. If you want change, start by changing you. See, a relationship is like a bridge between two islands. You thought your two islands were side by side and built your bridge based on that assumption. But she moved her island by having her affair, and the bridge broke. Okay, she moved her island back to side by side and now is starting to build a bridge like that again. But you keep saying, no, I want a new bridge, a different bridge, but you keep your island right where it is. If you move your island, like move it up a little and to the right, she will have to build something different. But the change starts with you. You must rock the boat. You must stop avoiding. Weeks later, OP responds. I helped a couple we have known the last 5 or so years move right around the same time as we were packing up. This couple has a few small kids and another on the way. By being around some kids in a somewhat analogous, but not nearly as screwed up, relationship, I've realized I can't have a family with my wife. There is no future. It is time to move on. With that being said, it is time to end this. Can I have this conversation and communicate that our marriage is over and she must move out without destroying her? If not, what is the simplest and cleanest way to go about it? Half a year later, I have had enough and told her I can't stay with the marriage. She does not work full-time and hasn't over the past few years, but her earning potential if she did work full-time is 85% of mine. As it stands right now, her current hours yield 70% off my income. Anyway, we have finally started talking about money. She says she is going to ask me for alimony despite her being the cheating spouse. The lawyer I spoke with said something like, since you took her back and tried to make it work, this could be seen as condoning her actions, which means I have a financial obligated to her. I think this is ridiculous. I am being penalized for trying to make my marriage work. I am an NC, which requires 1 year separation before divorcing, and there are no hard written rules about alimony expectations. We do not have a ton of assets, so I would imagine we would blow way more money on lawyers if we decided to let a judge decide it. Is this accurate? Can anyone steer me the right way? She told me that she expects her standard of living to remain the same, which I do not see how it can. We are dividing our assets and income. How would you expect a similar level of savings, spending, and so forth when you double the bills? Anyone care to chime in? I need to figure out what is reasonable. I am not trying to short her. I just don't think she should get any of my income, in an effort to try to minimize our lawyer costs. I told her that I am okay with her hiring a lawyer to draft a separation agreement and me paying a lawyer much less to review it with me. I guess that could end up being more money than I expect. Is there a fair but less costly way to approach this? My comment, I feel like in the end, she stopped lying because she could not say much anymore. She knew she lost the trust from her husband, and she still wants everything to be back to normal after the divorce. A classic cake eater. Comment down below. Have you met a cake eater in your life?